After exploring the museum and driving over to see Sudbury's premier attraction, the Big Nickel, we spent one more overnight in Sudbury.
We decided that the place we spent the night last night was a decent spot, so we went back there. It was close to the train tracks, but the few trains that went by during the night didn't bother us.
Come to think of it, you'll probably notice that many of the overnight spots along the journey were spent near the tracks.
Yeah. Traveling west seems to entail having a train somewhere in the background quite a bit. That sounds like an owl, I'm telling you. It's something you have no choice but to notice, since some of those trains are miles long. I particularly like some of the tagging, or tags, I believe that's what they're called, the graffiti, which the taggers paint on the boxcars. They each have their own specific personalized style and logos.
Indeed. They are quite colorful and mostly well done. It's morning, and if you saw the ending of the last video, you will know that this leg of the journey takes us to...
Oh, wait. Before we forget to mention it, be sure to check out the next video, as it contains some really amazing drone footage of Lake Superior and the resort itself from above. Okay, now...
It's off to go to... Ladies and gentlemen, the Traveling Wildberries.
Sault Ste. Marie for a short visit and then a one-night stay at the Twilight RV Resort on the banks of Lake Superior. This drive took a little over 4.5 hours. Once we got to Sault Ste. Marie, or the Soo as the locals call it, we took a nice long walk, steps, down the boardwalk, which zigzags its way along the waterfront.
The International Bridge. Linking the twin cities of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, the International Bridge opened to traffic on October 31st, 1962. With a length of 3.2 kilometers, plaza to plaza, the two-lane bridge was constructed in 2 years at a cost of $20 million. The construction of the bridge over 3 operating ship canals presented unique design problems. A vertical clearance of 37.8 meters was necessary to accommodate vessels passing beneath. To span the canals, a cantilever truss arch, now known as a Gronquist design, named after the design engineer Dr. Carl Gronquist, was erected.
After making our way to the foot of the bridge, where the St. Mary's River Rapids are their strongest.
The St. Mary's River Rapids. Known as Bawating to the Ojibwe Indians, the St. Mary's River Rapids were formed following the retreat of the Wisconsin Glacier some 12,000 years ago. Falling 6.4 meters to Lake Huron, the water from Lake Superior cuts through a hill of Jacobsville sandstone with an average flow of 1,850 cubic meters per second, most of which is now diverted through 3 power stations.
We turned around and walked all the way back past where we had begun so we could see what the other side had to offer. Steps.
The return leg of the stroll took us back towards the local mall, so we went inside to grab a few things we needed, then sauntered around a bit before heading back out on the road. Not too far down the road, we saw the sign for the Twilight Resort, which mentioned that it overlooked Lake Superior, so we decided to pull in and check to see if they had room for us to stay there for one night.
After we settled in, we took a short walk on the rocky beach. Kat then did some rock painting as I watched, or should I say tried to watch, the hockey game. Bad cell reception. I later flew the drone. Remember to check that footage out. And then, after our barbecue, we were treated to this great sunset. Ah, yes. One can never get enough of those amazing sunsets. In the morning, I went over to talk to the dude at the front desk. I was noticing this interesting paint job. It was neat, the branches out into the ceiling like it does. And this replica cannon was kind of neat as well. The owner says he fires it off on special occasions like Canada Day. As I left the office, I ran into this fella. We got to chatting and he told me he was trekking across Western Canada on his bicycle. As we chatted, I mentioned how brave/crazy I thought he was, and then asked if he liked fudge. He said yes, so I gave him a half dozen pieces of Cat's famous Cat's Meow fudge. We both agreed it would be good energy for him once he started to face those huge hills along the next part of his trek. We said our goodbyes and then headed down the road once again. And that brings us to the end of part 2 of the WOW Tour.
Be sure to come back for part 3, as we find a barely noticeable path off the main highway, which brought us down to an amazing... Oh wait, can't tell you just yet. Be sure to come back to find out what we found at the end of the path.
And in the meantime, don't forget the drone footage, which I put together of Lake Superior and the resort from the sky. Take care.
Oh wait!
Heavy.
Before we forget to mention it... No, I have to do that again.